Hello everyone! Stability of the content is of course very nice, but without experiments and coverage of new interesting topics, it is simply impossible to maintain your own interest and motivation. So in this video we'll talk about a new manufacturer of action figures to me, called Boss Fight Studio. We will do this using the example of a very specific but very useful skeleton figure. So what is Boss Fight Studio? Abbreviated BFS. It is a company engaged in manufacture and release of various action figures, as far as I could understand, non-franchise characters, without reference to any universes except their own line. The figures are released in both 12th and 18th scale, which is important for me. And in this case, we are going to talk about a skeleton from the Vitruvian Hex series in 1/18th scale. It is packed simply, the equipment is hyper modest, let's see the figure. Technically, this is a normal human skeleton. I am not an expert in anatomy and do not know the name of each bone, so I can say that visually, for his scale, the guy looks great. The bones in the leg are divided into the tibia and fibula. In the feet the fingers are highlighted, as in the hands. The hip, spine, ribs, collarbones, humerus, ulna, radius, and the skull with the lower jaw respectively. The articulation is much more interesting than appearance, because it is great for such a simple design, in such a scale and in the $20 price range. There is a joint with an angular rotation in the feet. Knee joints, thanks to the guy being skinny as possible, they are not limited in bending at all. There are hinge joints in the hips with unlimited lifts and abductions to the sides. There are joints in the lower back and chest. I am not sure if these are ball joints, because they do not allow for particularly strong tilts, but the turns are also not limited in any way. There is definitely a ball joint in the chest, because there are lateral tilts. Hinge joints in the shoulders, a single joint in the elbows for bending. This one has a slight limitation after 90 degree. There is a joint in the hands and the rotation of the hand on the pack, but I'm afraid to bend it because the pack is really small and I'm afraid to accidentally break it. The head turns, tilts, the jaw moves. The disadvantage is that it does not stay closed. The plastic is too light and thin, so the mouth is always open. For a beautiful shot you can fix it with a small piece of plasticine of a matching color, or a double-sided tape. There are many strange transparent things as accessories, all in pairs. At first I didn't understand the purpose of 4 of them, but then I realized these are parts which you can put on his bones to make them able to wear arm and leg protection. For these 2 large adapters the purpose is clear, because the kit includes a branded stand with the logo, on the pins of which they are placed, and in their holes you can put the figure's toe. Such is the format of the display. The skeleton has no holes in the feet, and this is a logical solution. I personally don't know if all the BFS figures have this, but it seems that only the skeleton. The stand itself, by the way, is incredibly light, and cannot even hold the skeleton in every pose. We are just moving on to this part. I don't think there will be any lore information here, you can go to an X-ray or read a school biology textbook instead. It's cool that this man or woman can stand on their own, but I don't really like that the plastic of the shins is bent in such a way that they look in different directions. In principle, that can be fixed after heating. The figure is capable of taking unlimited number of poses. From comedy to combat stances, dynamic, static, various kicks, punches, lying, sitting, running, jumping, kneeling, in general just everything. And the most amazing thing here is that in each of these poses the skeleton looks very live, expressive and even natural, which sounds a little unnatural. Just look at him. Of course, maybe it seems only to me, but in my opinion he is incredibly charismatic, especially if you add a couple of simple accessories. By the way, the figure has no weapons and clothes. This is something like an empty template, but in general BFS are known for their sets of accessories that fit their figures and include both weapons and clothes. I don't have any of them yet, but if you're interested be sure to write in the comments and I will order some set, and we will try it on this skeleton. In the meantime, there's nothing. I decided to try clothes from figures of other manufacturers in 18th scale. Small bolters, cloaks, clone trooper rifles, lightsabers, and even some helmets fit him. But of course, large joy-toy guns, not only from Space Marines, but even from Sisters of Battle, will not fit here. A barrel of coal in 12 scale looks quite massive. Comment which of the presented images you liked more. I tried very hard on them. And at the same time we can play a game. Can you guess the details of which characters I used to create them? Let's move on to the comparison, and I think it would be fair to start with the closest in scale and body structure character. This is the V1 battle droid from Hasbro. They have the same height and inversely proportional placement of the shins. Together they look nice. By the way, V1 are the skeletons of Neimoidians as far as I remember. The clone trooper from Hasbro also scales well. but here we need to make a note in the margins which we will now return to. The Sister of Battle from Joy Toy, my opinion, scales better than the clone from Hasbro, as well as this Scion. Look what's the matter. Everything is obvious here, the skeleton is a person without his meat component, without skin, without hair, his clothes are put on over all this. And objectively, if we add the missing organs to his body, which is everything, then it will become clear that in some suit he will be larger than the clone in armor, about the same size as Scion, which makes it ideal for combining with Joy Toy. Here's how he compares to Deathmark, a basic old generation Primaris, the Orc Commander from the recent review, a 12 scale Skeleton Brother, and a large Primarch. Concluding, this skeleton from Boss Fight Studio, in addition to being good enough as an independent action figure, is also an excellent addition to figures in the Warhammer universe, and fits perfectly in terms of scale. In general, it will be necessary to compare it with figures of other Joy Toy lines, like Turtles or these Gladiators. Another advantage of this skeleton is that it is not strictly tied to any universe or historical era. It will be equally good in Warhammer 40,000, as well as in Age of Sigmar, in Star Wars or some other works. Therefore, a rather rare case of absolute versatility, and given the low cost and the most gorgeous articulation in this scale, the figure, as it seems to me, is definitely worth attention. This is where the review comes to an end. I really enjoyed working with BFS, so in the future I will gladly shoot a review of their packs of accessories. And even more decorated figure, for example some knight. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if this video was interesting. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.